Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is SALMA ARLIAN. My register number is A1M219113. I'm from group 10. The material of our group are modals, auxiliary plus infinitive, and WH question words. In this video, I will explain the definition of modal auxiliary and the rules for using the modal auxiliary. A modal auxiliary is a group of auxiliary words that are part of an auxiliary that add meaning to a sentence. A modal auxiliary is a word that is placed before the main verb to modify the meaning of the main verb. Its function is to express willingness or ability, necessity, and possibility. Auxiliary modalities include, for present tense, there are can, may, will, shall, must, need, ought to, and dare, and past tense, could, might, should, and would. The rules for using the modal auxiliary. First, the verb cannot be added with s or es if there is a modal auxiliary. Example, he can make a fruit cake. Between the verb cannot be added with s or es if there is a modal auxiliary. So we have to remove s. The correct sentence is he can make a fruit cake. And the second is between the modal auxiliary and the verb shouldn't be connected with to. Example, they can to take this paper to the room. This is a wrong sentence. The correct sentence is we have to remove to, because between the modal auxiliary and the verb shouldn't be connected with to. And next, if the modal auxiliary is the past tense, the verb to be used must be the infinitive. Example, they could sing at the karaoke until midnight. This is a wrong sentence. The correct sentence, we have to use infinitive out of the modal auxiliary is past tense. So the correct sentence is they could sing at the karaoke until midnight. And next, an interrogative sentence is formed by placing a modal auxiliary in front of the sentence. Example, can your father speak English well? Could you contact him last night? A denying sentence or negative sentence is formed by adding not after the modal auxiliary. Can, must, need, could, should, and would with not are often written in a short form or contracted form, namely cannot, must not, mustn't, couldn't, shouldn't, and wouldn't. Will and would are usually shortened to apostrophe double L and apostrophe D. Example, she'll call him back after dinner. I come to her house yesterday. If shall not and will not be written in a short form, it will be shan't and won't. Example, mother won't give the money unless you beg her to give you some money. For example, shan't Harry shan't be there. Can and not are not written in a short form or contraction form. Can and not be made into one word, namely cannot. Example, I cannot enter the meeting. Cannot usually using in formal and official conversations. And to form a question tag, a modal auxiliary is placed at the back of the sentence. Example, Jessica can study the maths. Can she? You sure could see him last night, couldn't you? I think enough, and I say wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is RINI WIDIASTUTI DARWIS. My registration number is A1M2191119. I will explain about type of modals. Type of modals are can, could, may, might, must, and will. Pengertian modal di sini, modal are auxiliary that don't change grammatical form. Dan penggunaan modal itu modal diikuti oleh kata dasar. Contohnya I can be, will eat, and etc. Modal dapat digunakan dalam semua subjek tanpa harus menambahkan akhiran s. Contohnya I can swim. Dan gunakan modal di depan subjek dalam membuat kalimat tanya. Contohnya will she go, and can they sing. Terus tambahkan not dalam membuat kalimat negatif. Contohnya cannot, will not, must not. Dan untuk lebih jelasnya, saya akan memberikan masing-masing contoh. Sebelum masuk ke dalam contohnya, rumus modal yaitu untuk kalimat positifnya subjek tambah modal tambah verb one tambah objek. Untuk kalimat negatifnya subjek tambah modal tambah not tambah verb one tambah objek. Dan untuk kalimat interrogatifnya modal tambah subjek and verb one tambah objek. For example, can. Kalimat positifnya he can lift the big box. Untuk kalimat negatifnya he can not lift the big box. And untuk kalimat interrogatifnya can he lift the big box? Oke, next lanjut ke could. Untuk contoh could, kalimat positifnya they could be at home now. Untuk kalimat negatifnya they could now not be at home now. Dan untuk kalimat interrogatifnya could they be at home now? And next, for example, may. Kalimat positifnya I may borrow your book. Kalimat negatifnya I may not borrow your book. And untuk kalimat interrogatifnya may I borrow your book? And next, for example, might. Kalimat positifnya I might come in. Kalimat negatifnya I might not come in. And untuk kalimat interrogatifnya might I come in? For example, must. Kalimat positifnya she must be in Jakarta. Kalimat negatifnya she must not be in Jakarta. And kalimat interrogatifnya must be in Jakarta. And finally, for example, will. Kalimat positifnya I will help you. And kalimat negatifnya I will not help you. And kalimat interrogatifnya will I help you? I think enough for me. Thank you for watching. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
HARYATI and my registered number is A1M219115. So here I will explain about WH question word. So WH question is question to ask for information. The information requested can be in the form of time, place, present, thing, or way. WH question used to refers to questions starting WH and H. Question words such as who, what, where, why, when, whose, which, how, and so on. If you want to get some information about someone or something, you always have to ask a WH question. So what kinds of WH question are there? The first one is who. Who, if you always to know about a person or people, so you use the question who when you're talking about a singular person or a people, which will be the plural form of a person. For examples, who is your teacher? Or who are you? So the second one is whom. Whom is used to ask about someone as an object. For examples, whom did you meet so much? Or whom did you meet yesterday? And maybe the answer I could say, I miss her so much, or I met her yesterday. And next is how to use whose in WH question. So whose always to ask about ownership of an object. For examples, whose car is dead, or whose phone is dead, or whose phone is lost, so like that. Whose, if you want to know about who is the ownership of the object, you always use whose to ask. And the second of WH question is what. So what, when you give you information about an object, an idea, and an action. For examples, what is your name, or what she is name as an object, or what time is it? What does your father do as an action, or what are you doing, or what are you thinking about as an idea, or what is that? So if you want to know about information about an object, an idea, and an action, you always use WH question what. The next is where. Where, whenever you want to know the place, you always use the WH question called where. So when you want to know the place, you will always use the word where. For examples, where do you live? Or where are you from? Or where are you? So if you want to know about place, you will always use the word where. Why. We used why to get a reason as to why something happens. For examples, why are you crying? Or why are you still here? And maybe the answer is, I could say, because my mom's sick, or because my mom here. So, like that. And the second is when. When always asks when you want to know the time of a particular event. So whenever you want to know the time a particular thing occurs, that's when you ask the question when. Remember, if when, it always talk about time. So look at the examples. When did it occur? Or when will you give my book back? And the next of WH question word is which. Which is used if you want to ask for option or choices. For examples, which one do you like? Or which dress should I use? And if you want to ask about an option or choices, you will always use WH question which. And the last one of WH question is how. How is used to ask about age, manner or method, distance, quantity, price, duration, and frequency. For examples, how old is your sister? You can also use the word how, followed by the word old, when you are talking about the age. Next examples is how to make an omelette. You can also use the word how, followed by to, when you are talking about the method or manner. Next is how much is this souvenir, or how much money do you have, is talking about price as uncountable noun. How many cats do you have in your house, or how many your child? This is talk about quantity as countable noun. And the next is how long will you stay in Bali? You can also use the word how followed by the word long when you are talking about the duration, or in other words, you're talking about the time period during which something happens. And the next countable noun. And the next is how long will you stay in Bali? You can also use the word how followed by the word long when you are talking about the duration, or in other words, you're talking about the time period during which something happens. And the next examples is how often do you practice, or talking about frequency. And the last one is how far.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is FEBRIANTI and my register number is A1M219119. I'm from group 10. The topic of my group is modal auxiliary verb plus infinitives and WH question words. I want to continue the presentation from my friend about WH question word. I want to explain about WH question function and words. WH question function and words consist of three parts. First is asking for subject, asking for object, and embedded question. The first is asking for subject. Asking for subject is used for question that focus on asking for subject or the actor. The formula for determining asking for subject is what or who plus verb plus object. For the example of asking for subject is who opened the window and who did open the window. The correct sentence is who opened the window, and the false sentence is who did open the window because did is auxiliary verb. 2 is asking for object. Asking for object is used of types for question that focus on asking for object or such